Привіт! Fastest way to get on a Ukrainian's bad side, in worst case to make them hate you, is something 98% of people I meet here do, and I'm pretty sure they don't even realize it. With the recent changes in administration in United States, where I live, there are even more things that people somehow come up with that can make Ukrainians very sad, upset, annoyed, angry, and you name it. And these things are not obvious. That's why I felt the need to talk about them in the first place, not only to show challenges which almost every Ukrainian abroad face, but more for you to avoid, to not ruin your first impression when someone tells you I'm from Ukraine. After this phrase, most people do their first step to the biggest mistake they could ever do to ruin a possible friendship with a Ukrainian. The phrase is, I am so sorry. The phrase itself is not bad, but what comes next is the biggest problem. I will try to organize and put into words what I have had in my head during the last 3 years since the war started. I don't think I have to mention that saying anything bad about Ukraine or anything good about Russia can irritate a Ukrainian. I think this is very obvious. By no means I want this video to promote hate. That's what has been stopping me to record similar videos. I don't want to share negativity. I will try to make it as negativity free as I possibly can. I will speak about United States, and what I noticed is that people very often feel that the phrase I'm sorry explains what will come after that. I think that's a part of mentality, the culture, that people here try to be as polite as possible. You sometimes cannot figure out if they are sincere with you or not. That's not a bad thing. I mean, because that's something I think we don't have in Ukraine, and people can forget that they are in a society and they can say things which they think, although it would be better to not say them for the sake of society. This is another topic. Sometimes Americans do say what they really think, but they cover it under layers of politeness, and one of the ways I have noticed is the phrase I'm sorry or I'm just curious, which first sounded like a good reason for me. The person says, I'm just curious, that's why I'm asking this inappropriate question, and they think that this gives them the right to ask it. How is your family? What is bad in asking how is my family? Well, nothing is bad if we take it out of the context. In the beginning of the war, it sounded very sincere to me because I came from another culture. I thought that it's very nice of people who don't know me to ask if I'm doing all right and if my family is safe. This question becomes a problem after 3 years of the ongoing war. You give the same answer all the time. How is your family in Ukraine? When you ask me this today, the only answer I can think of is, how do you think my family is? That's difficult to put yourself in someone else's shoes. I can understand that, and it's very human to be curious, which I can also understand. Instead of being upset about that, I used to explain to myself that people don't really know, and they ask because they probably really feel sorry and really want to help me the way they could. But 3 years later, I see that people just follow same patterns which they followed in the beginning of the war. They ask same questions, and I just realized that most people don't mean it, and questions are exactly the same about how sorry they are, and then if I have family left in Ukraine, always how is my family, and then nothing else comes after this conversation. Everything changes, it's never the same, and if you want to really talk to Ukrainians' hearts, you need to also change with the situation. Yes, there is still war in Ukraine, but even this war changes. Try to keep track of what's going on if you really want to show your care to your Ukrainian friends or to someone you just met. As you may have seen, I provided a solution for you as well, what you should not do and what you should do instead. But with the next problem, I'm not sure there is any solution here. And it has to do with the culture of names in Ukraine. How often I hear surprised questions about why I have so many names. And I explain all over again that it's completely normal in Ukraine to have one name which your mom calls you by, another grandmother, she prefers to call you this name, and then we have the name for our friends, and we have our official name which is in the passport. And this is just how it is. It's all different forms of the same name, comes always with a lot of surprise. And I can also understand that I would be surprised as well, probably, if I always lived in another culture, like Hannah and Anna. It's two different names in the United States, and suddenly someone tells you no, it's the same name. This expression of surprise would not most likely make a Ukrainian hate you. Some Ukrainians would love to explain these things, but probably it would depend if this is someone who has been living abroad or just someone visiting your country, and then the person wants to talk about their culture. So Ukrainian would be really happy to explain such things. I would think the solution would be to just not give too much explanations if you don't feel like that. Just say, I go by Hannah, for example. If you have ideas, please let me know in the comments. I heard many times, which is surprisingly unobvious to some people. After 3 years, some people ask, is there still war in Ukraine? I don't probably need to comment why this question is inappropriate. Some small things which are better to avoid: the Ukraine, say Ukraine instead. And when you speak Ukrainian, say в Україні, in Ukraine, and not na Ukraini, which is an old, outdated way. And now finally, what to do to make Ukrainians happy, while not showing concern about their families at all would come across as unpolite. I personally prefer that. I like being able to forget for a while about what is going on in Ukraine, especially when I go to some public places like hairdressers or doctor's appointment, or any place where I want to feel like a part of a society and I want to distract myself with something else. That's when I would prefer to not hear all the comforting words. If we become friends, if we keep in touch, then I believe it would be more appropriate to ask personal questions about family and about how I'm coping, express your sympathy. Another way to react to my words, I'm from Ukraine, would be to say something as simple as glory to Ukraine, or in Ukrainian Slava Ukraini, which shows that you understand what's going on and you support Ukraine. Do you agree with me, or you have another opinion? Share in the comments. I'm very curious to learn what you think. If you have a bit more time, check these videos. You may like it, you never know. See you next time.